Andre. Time for another Flying Friday update. Sorry about last weekend. My wife and I were out celebrating a wedding anniversary, so I didn't get a chance to record one. And I should be out flying this evening, or I should be outside at least recording this update outside, but it's like 8 degrees and 20 to 30 kilometer hour winds. And tomorrow, like overnight, we have a frost warning, so so, as some of my other friends said, we're going back to Florida to visit Fred. Hi, Fred. So, this week is been productive. Last weekend has been very productive. I got out and had an amazing flight with the full-scale Radian hanging over there. 20 minutes off one of those 1300s. So it's about 4 minutes of prop time, total run time, and just gliding around. The footage was phenomenal, and it was just one of those days where it was a really relaxing flight. I had a horrible landing session. Once again, I'm like 0 for 6 on the 190. So my backup plane and just bring me back to a nice flying happy spot, right? And we all know how that's important. So really impressed with the Radian. Again, that's going with me to Flight Fest because I'm looking forward to flying with all the after hour guys and just getting out there. So now I got to try and beat my own personal benchmark of 20 minutes airtime. So we'll keep working on that, and I'm sure I'll get better at spotting the lift and everything. Again, the 190 is going to go under the knife, if you will. I've been reading up on some modifications to do to the cowl and to get some airflow into the battery and stuff like this. Not really critical yet, but I'm going to monitor that stuff. The big job is to try and stabilize that landing gear. I did find out I can buy some stuff from Motion RC out of the US with some pretty reasonable shipping prices. The shipping is almost more expensive than the actual struts. But this evening, after I'm done the recording here, I'm going to try and get out to the garage, my MIG welder, after I make some final adjustments, and see if I can hit the bend with my MIG welder and build up that area and maybe strengthen it. We'll see. Other than that, I want to move that speaker forward into the cowl. I actually took all the counterweights out of the cowl, and you can see where I scrubbed up on my last landing. I dozed it over and broke the prop off and everything. So it was, the cowl took a hit. So I am switching over to the master air screws, which means the spinner actually has to be opened up a bit to accept the wider props, but we'll get to it. And when I have time, and if this evening, if I have the chance, I'm probably going to cut into the wing and install and just run the flaps. I'm not going to bother trying to do the split flaps because it's not really all that critical to me, but the wings itself on the Dyna 190 are FW-190 are set up. If I lift the plane here, you can see they're set up to do flaps. So run the servos in, and I'll try and when I mix the paint, I'll try and do a closer, slightly darker shade of the blue. So I'll add in a little gray and see if I can match it up and record how I do that, so I can keep replicating that with just the simple acrylics. So I know you're looking at this box right here, and you're thinking, that's a Taranis box. And yeah, so much for looking at another Turnigy radio. I now have my Taranis radio, and I'm full on into learning how to use the OpenX. And I do have 2 modules, the FRSKY modules coming in, or receivers, sorry, coming in. But for the time being, I've gone in and, changed my Orange RX DSMX receiver. This one fit in the best out of the 3 receivers that I do work with. That one fit in the cleanest, so that was nice. The 433, I had to put a little piece of foam inside there and then take the cover to the grinder so it fit, because the pins were just off, just that tiny bit, right? And the worst offender of the bunch was the Turnigy 9X, V2 module. The board actually sits a lot higher up, or lower down, sorry, in the module case. So I went in with some foam and repositioned it, and now, that fits in perfectly fine into the radio. So I'm really excited. I've started programming it. Application between the Mac and the PC is pretty well the same. I did start off on the PC because I wanted to be able to look at 2 screens so I could read what a previous model looked like and just start learning all the mixes and servos and mapping and all this stuff. So I pretty well have it under control and understanding of it now. So if the weather's good, I hope to take the Video Air Systems Wraith out and give that a flight, because that's the first one that I program into this, and as I go I'll start popping them in and populating everything and transferring over model by model. So it's a long process, but now suddenly I have a radio that can hold all my models, and that was the whole thing, and have some audio feedback. So
throttle release. Rate FPV-433. Return to launch.
See, return to launch, and all the different menu modes and everything. If you listen to the podcast I did with Chris in the After Hours podcast, I mentioned that I was flying the Sukhoi, and I took off in basically stagility mode with high rates, and that's where the initiative saying, okay, enough, I need a radio that's going to feed back if I haven't flown the plane for a while, or just goof up and forget to do my pre-flight checks. I want something that's going to remind me of those, and that's basically the initiative behind it. The Taranis and the FRSKY stuff is all a bonus, basically. All that telemetry coming back, and I'll start playing with that over time, but that is mucho dinero. Very expensive on all those modules and everything, but I can see it in the variometers on the Wraith and stuff like that, just being that extra little sweetness to flying. You know, that little, you know, if you're going, and the variometer will start chiming if you've got lift or descent. So all kinds of exciting stuff. Other than that, the only other things to come in from recent orders was a Hobby King card for the HK, programming card for the HK ESCs. I have so many of them on my airplanes. On the Wraith, I wanted to know what was going on and why the plane felt underpowered. I've gone back and actually redone the balance, and I've made sure the motor braking is working correctly now on both ESCs. So that is progress for that. Other than that, it was some LEDs, so I'm going to light up the Fun Cup, because that plane is going to come with me to Flight Fest. I'm going to paint the top green and the army green and the sides and do up all the Canadian Forces decaling, but on the belly and the underside of the wings is going to remain white so I can glow it, and I've got the nav kit lights, and I've got the 4 LEDs, so green, red, and 2 whites, which should really beam it up. And if I can get the Wraith flying nice, well, that'll probably come along as well, because that thing is Mr. Glow in the Dark. So I don't think I have anything else to say. I haven't flown the S500, and it's just because time and the weather and work and everything, so it will come, but it's not something I'm rushing, because it's one of those things where I want to take my time and just enjoy the experience. So I have put the Taranis experience on the flight test forum, lots of good feedback and everything, and lots of my experience as I go through and push through and learn, and I will, of course, keep a running tab on everything I learned and everything. I had a few people comment saying we didn't realize that they could run a Turnigy module in there, and I said yes, you can. PPM, it's all just programming, and it just expands your possibilities, because I mean, like I said, I've got what, 9X receivers, you know, and to replace all of them, that's a lot of money to drop. So it's one of those things over time, and as I see the need, I'll do it. Otherwise, the case is set up where I can just pop these modules out. I'll probably go and put a SMB connector and change the antenna, so I can just, you know, remove the antenna and leave a module in there, or just remove the module and it'll be able to touch safer in the case. But for now, progress, slow, steady. So, hope to see everybody at the flying field this weekend. Have a great time. To my U.S. friends, happy Memorial Day. Well, you know what I mean. Enjoy your time off. If you see a veteran, say my regards. Cheers.